What's going on, boys? It is day number 34 of reading through the book of Job. I hope that you guys have had a really great weekend, and I hope that whatever is going on in your daily lives, I hope that God is answering you in many ways, and that many different prayers will be answered for you. Today, we are going to be looking at another response by Job's friend Elihu, and his kind of reminder to Job as hey, you're doubting yourself. This is who you are. Let me reveal to you who you really are and who God is to you and what God sees and what he doesn't see. Before we start, one of the things I, was thinking about today as I was, at work and when I was playing disc golf this morning was, one of the biggest things that I've noticed in my life has been a big kind of game changer to me is having great brotherhood. So I know for the guys, we have a great brotherhood, but it's just an amazing thing to have when you're able to just sit down and talk with guys about your daily lives and not have to worry about any sort of embarrassment or judgment. And it's just a great thing. And I hope that you have someone in your life that you can share that with, whether it's a family member or a mentor or a pastor, or whoever. And it's a good reminder to know that you have people to talk to you. I just wanted to share that. I was thinking about that today, and I was really thinking about that, especially as I was talking with my buddies this morning. But first, the first set of verses that I want to look at are verses 3 and 4. Now, these immediate verses kind of made me think of another kind of, let's say phrase, but like a term that I heard growing up. And I'll share it here in just a minute. Elihu says, "For the ear tests words as the tongue tastes food. Let us discern for ourselves what is right. Let us learn together what is good." So we must use what is already given to us to help discern good from evil. Now, this kind of term that came to my mind was the thing of our senses. We have taste, touch, sight, smell, and feeling. I may have said the same one over again, I don't know. But, you think of your senses, what you have. And each sense has one purpose, has one goal of what it's supposed to do. You think with your hands, you have to touch, and you feel something. You're like, okay, well, this feels smooth, or this feels rough, or this feels sharp, or this feels deep, or this is cold, or this is hot. And you think, okay, well, this helps you to make an assumption of how that particular object or a person or, whatever, how it feels. But then you think when you hear something, you hear these words, you hear sounds, you're like, okay, I'm able to deceive this. And you're like, okay, that's what I view this person as, or view this image as. I can get an idea of, okay, I hear these sounds. Maybe this is what this person looks like. Or you see them directly. You're like, okay, I see them directly. They have, brown hair or whatever. Or they're wearing, a white shirt. And then the smell. Now, obviously, smells and taste, I'll combine them together, but smells and taste, you mostly associate with them with like food and stuff like that. But long story short, let's go to the meaning of this. The senses are what give us our ability to deceive how the world works. It allows us to get around in nature and really understand how things come together. Now, how does it relate back to Job? Well, it relates because you have to remember that just because one particular area is not working doesn't mean everything is gone. Just because you lose a certain sense in a certain case, just because you may not be able to hear as well, you may not be able to see as well, you may not be able to feel things as well, it doesn't mean that you can't still continue moving forward. And that's the biggest thing that a lot of us tend to do, is that when we have one thing black out, everything else just blacks out on us because we think, oh, I've lost that. That's it. I'm done. But that is not the case. Not the case at all. We have to remind ourselves, okay, we're down one here, but we have much more that we still have with us. And that's what matters. And what also matters is that it was a willing loss, that you lost it for a good cause, that you were willing to learn better and really create a good discipline for yourself. And that's what I love about it. Now, these next 3 verses, oh boy, I can't tell you. I read over this, and I read over it about 3 times. And it is just a crazy, crazy way of thinking it. It's a great kind of description of who Job is as a person, of who he is, like why he is a servant, why he doesn't just worship God because he has everything. Elihu makes a great description. He says, "Is there anyone like Job who drinks scorn like water? He keeps company with evildoers. He associates with the wicked, for he says there is no profit in trying to please God." Now, immediately, what came to mind afterwards was this kind of these characteristics that are being listed. It also makes me think of another important figure that has been mentioned in the Bible. Now, as most of you might know, this figure is a prominent life changer for all of us, and that is Jesus. Jesus was a just incredible figure that sat with the poor, ate with sinners, and didn't just come down and talk to the people who were healthy. He came to make dead people alive. He came to make sick people well, and that's the kind of person that Job was. He was a great servant that didn't just worship God because he had everything. Jesus could have come down and he could have just done whatever he wanted. He could have come down and, created all sorts of chaos around people, and he could have come down and made himself king, made himself a person over top of everybody else, which we know he is, but he did it in a loving manner. He didn't do it in a demanding manner to say, "I'm king, you're not." It was like hey, embrace my love, jump in, come into my kingdom. And that's one of the greatest factors about it, is that when we live our lives, when we have, Christ in the center of our hearts, we're really able to discern from these judgment thoughts and these negative thoughts we have towards other people who are in the best of positions in life. When we have to shrink ourselves down and really be like, okay, I'm human just like them. I'm prone to making mistakes. They're human just like me. We're all made from God. And clearly, whatever that person is in life, God has a plan for them. Wherever they're at in life, they're there for a reason. It didn't happen by accident. God made you for a reason. And that is for you to go out and live and embrace what it means to be filled with life and love. Because love is not a forced, object, not forced, like a forced feeling. It is a choice that we must make. And I promise you, when you embrace it, you will see so many things come together. And it is just incredible when you really embrace it. Now, this leads me to my last set of verses. This is going to be verses 21 and 22. Elihu says, "His eyes are on the ways of mortals. He sees every step. There is no deep shadow, no utter darkness, where evildoers can hide." So, our actions, all of our actions, are seen by God. They don't go unseen. And we cannot hide from God. There's no hiding. There's no, well, maybe if I just, build this, barrier around myself, maybe God won't see me. Or maybe if I just deny it and say I didn't do it. Or maybe if I just, act like I'm okay. Maybe if I show a happy face, even if I'm not happy inside, maybe that's what matters. But it's not how it is. God doesn't look at you for just, your physical response. He looks at your heart. And your heart's everything. Everything comes from your heart. So if your heart is down wrong, everything else, I guarantee everything else will fall in with it. So don't try and, put on a pretty face when deep down you're not. Don't try and be outgoing, or don't try to be engaging. Don't try to be loving towards others if you can't really embrace it in your heart and really plant it in your heart to say, this is the seed that I need to be planting to grow from within, so that way I can be changed from the inside out. Because that's what really sets us apart, and that's what allows us to understand why we can love people. We can love anybody. We can love the rich. We can love the poor. We can love the wealthy. We can love the ones who don't have as much. We can love our enemies. We can love the people who criticize us. And it does take a long time. And sometimes you have to be put through challenges. And while we don't know exactly what those challenges are, we do know that they come and go. Challenges are not at a set date. They come when the time is right, and they are answered when the time is right. And that's what allows us to really understand who God is as a person, and why He is so loving and caring for us. And that is today's word. I hope that you guys have had a great weekend, and I hope to see you guys very soon. Peace out, boys.